Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine, and this is your preview show. I'm your host Khalid Mohideen. This is the show where we talk about everything that's happening between South Africa and Pakistan. It's the third ODI, the final one, the series decider between Pakistan and South Africa. So now we're really getting to the business end of the tournament. But on the flip side, we're going to be able to see some new guys play in the next match because obviously we know that the guys from the IPL have left to the IPL. So we won't have South Africa's full strength team, in other words. So you're going to get to see a lot of newer guys. It's an opportunity for us to test our depth and to test how many guys we have available to us so that we can find those missing pieces to that squad that we want to build for the World Cup in 2023. I think some of these guys will also be on trials for the T20 game as well, I feel. I know you can't completely compare the two formats, but some of them are going to be on trial kind of for that as well to see who probably will play in the T20s as well to get that consistency going. We had a press conference today from Charles Langeveld, which Aditya will talk about a little bit later. We will bring it on the show very soon. And he revealed some insights into maybe some of the selections that we can look forward to. But before we get going, before we get the discussion going, before you guys get involved, please subscribe to this channel. Please click that notification bell for all future videos. Now, we will be bringing you these shows a little bit earlier than usual, not at 8 o'clock slot. I want to try to get this done as early as possible so that we can get more people on the stream, because I feel that more people are kind of available from Pakistan if it's a little bit earlier. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting here at midnight talking about, for you guys at midnight, talking about cricket in South Africa. And I know you guys are massive fans, and you guys, thanks you for all the support for doing that. But I'm just trying to be a little bit more accommodating to all of you and to all of our viewers from around the world, including Aditya as well, because Aditya also has to come on a little bit later than us in the evening for him, and it's a little bit easier for him too. So I think that's the main reasons why I've done this. And hopefully we can get some guests from Pakistan in the future as well. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for joining the show. Seppo, thank you for coming on. Cricket Connoisseur, Aaron, thank you for coming to the stream. It's a pity you're not on the stream itself to talk to us, but okay, you can be there in the comment section. And Dex as well, saying he can't wait to see Yanaman Malan destroy Pakistan. So let's get into it, guys. I'm going to bring Aditya onto the show. Welcome to the show, Aditya. I think first and foremost, what we need to talk about is how are you doing? How was your day today? How was your weekend? Your long weekend as well?
It's been all right, man. We're back under lockdown because we've had like 100,000 cases a day in the country, and Mumbai has had over 11,000 cases a day alone. So yeah, we're back in lockdown. But yeah, I'm grateful for the cricket and the chat cricket with you and everyone on the team.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy when we compare South Africa. I was very pleased with the way South Africa has handled the whole coronavirus situation. I mean, yes, we've also had overcrowded hospitals, private hospitals, and also government hospitals, to the point where private hospitals had to give some of their patients to government hospitals because they couldn't find enough space, which is crazy to see that from that way. Normally, it's the other way around, where government hospitals are sending to private hospitals, and it was getting hectic. I think that the South African citizens generally have been listening and been listening to the protocols and being on lockdown and listening to the restrictions. But we're comparing 1 billion people to 58 million people. So that's a completely different ballgame when you're talking about India and you're talking about South Africa. So for you guys, I mean, it must be harder to control it, to control so many people. And I don't know what the rate is of the poverty rate. Obviously in India is also very high compared to South Africa as well. Is also very high. Also, the education rate maybe not as high is not as high maybe in large portions of India as well as in South Africa. So it's difficult. But even in countries where the education rate is very high, we've seen like the USA, where we expect them to understand and know how things work. There's been a lot of breaches over there too. So I hope that everything goes well with your side, Aditya, and things get cleared up in India, man. Because I really hope that everything goes better there in that side. All the best to everybody there in that side of the world, our friends over there. Let's start with the squad. To the guys that don't know, I'm just going to put on the updated squad now that the IPL guys have left. As you can see, with regards to batsmen, it's depleted a lot. So it's a lot easier to pick your batsman than it was before. Now that you have Temba, you know that Temba will play. Heinrich Klaassen, Janneman Malan, Aiden Markram. You've got John Smuts, who's an all-rounder. Rassie van der Dussen as a specialist batsman. So the specialist batsman in this team, Kyle Verreynne, of course, the specialist batsman in the team has been reduced significantly. So the chances of us seeing a Kyle Verreynne or someone like Janneman Malan is much higher now in this particular game. Let's pick that lineup, Aditya. Let's try to come to a conclusion between the two of us on who we want to pick and who you'd pick. Now that we've got Quinton is not in the side, obviously David Miller's not there. Who is your top 6, would you say, as batters, if you were going to pick from that particular squad?
Yeah, I'd go back to the 11 that I'd picked before the series started, because it was one that didn't include the IPL guys, as they're now called. But yeah, I'd have Janneman Malan at the top with Aiden Markram.
Yeah.
Temba at 3, Rassie at 4. We don't need to change that around. I think that's worked the series brilliantly.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Number 5, I think Klaassen would probably be promoted to number 5, because he's now the experienced candidate, so that you can give the number 6 position to someone who may not be as experienced. So I'd go for Kyle Verreynne. It's time to give him an opportunity. He scored double 100 in domestic cricket. He's in good form. He's feeling good. He's got a strike when the iron's hot. So we must have him there. And I think Andile would retain his spot as well. And Charles Lunchbelt, he confirmed that Darren Dupervillon is going to play. So I think that leaves us with 2 spots for bowling.
Yeah, so that clears up a lot, because
might play.
Yeah, that cleans up a lot, the fact that he said that the Pavelin's gonna play, because now we have to choose between Bjorn Hendricks, Luther Sapamla, Sander Magala, and Lizard Williams. So I mean, I'm gonna go with the newest guy possible. I don't think they'll do that. I think South Africa will go with Bjorn Hendricks. I think they'll go with the Pavelin. I doubt they will see Sander Magala, even though I would love to see him. I doubt we will see him. And I doubt we'll see Luther Sapamla maybe in ODI cricket. I think that they will give the more experienced guys probably opportunities that didn't get a chance to play. That's my concern over here, because I'd love to see Lizard Williams have a game. That is obviously someone that I'd love to see. I think that they'll play 2 all-rounders this time around. I think they'll give Vian Mulder an opportunity. I mean, certainly I would do so. I would put, or they're not.
I don't think that's happening though, because Langeveld said that it's hard to fit Vian into the team. So I don't know if that's happening.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting.
Press.
Yeah. Okay. So if you say that in the press conference, then that's quite a big one for me, because I don't see why. That's a talking point, because I don't see why it will be difficult to fit him into the team, because the boy can bat and he can add a lot with the ball as well. I see him in more fitting into the number 7 position than Andile Pehlekwayo. Me personally. Let me bring Aaron on the stream, because he's easier. I'm going to ask him about that particular question straight up in the fire immediately. So,
hello,
Aaron,
everyone. Yep.
How's the brother? The first question I want to ask you straight away is the one that I posed to Aditya, because Aditya mentioned that Charles Langeveld mentioned that it would be difficult to get Vian Mulder into the team, whereas in my 11, I would have picked him at 7 and Andile at 8 in this particular game. What's your thoughts on that comment?
I would have said the exact same thing. I want to see Vian Mulder in the 11. It's as simple as that. He's a wonderful all-rounder, isn't it? And something, we mentioned it on the show the other night, wasn't it? The review of the second ODI, that we need someone, I say we as in the Proteas in this instance, need a number 7. They need to extend that batting lineup. So in my opinion, I probably would have gone with Mulder. I think this is a fantastic opportunity. I know this series is quote unquote on the line, but this is an opportunity to give these guys an opportunity. So I personally wouldn't have gone in that direction. I would have agreed with you, Khalid. I would have gone Mulder in this game, along with someone like Magala. who we may or may not see.
We all want to see, yeah. My concern is always when I see experienced guys in the team, that they will always get the nod over the younger guys. I'm going to bring on the squad again. I definitely do think that someone like Björn Hendricks will play, because I think that they want that variation for the World Cup. It's just something, and I know Charles Langeveld and Björn have a close relationship, and they work actually in the off-season together as well. He told me that in one of his interviews before the season started. So I know that Charles backs Björn a lot and his ability, and he's being a left-arm seamer, and I know he's worked on his Yorker deliveries, and his change-ups and his variations, etc. When it comes to the seamers, we only know that maybe the Pavlin is going to replace Andrich, and that's what Aditya mentioned to us from the press conference. So when it comes to some of the other guys, who would you go with, Aaron? Because I mean, I would have gone with Magala. I also wanted to see Magala, but I think that Magala has a bigger chance of making the T20 World Cup squad than the 2023 World Cup squad, in my opinion. I think that is probably the best chance of playing for South Africa is probably in T20 cricket.
Well, fair enough. But with that being said, he had a very good one-day cup, didn't he? I think it's at 8 wickets, didn't he? He was up there as one of the leading wicket takers. So he still could be an ODI format player. So why not give him an opportunity? That's just up to me. I think that many people now do like Sisanda Magala. He's a very, very good bowler. In addition to him, of course, to Pavlon, be interesting to see him. And in terms of another seamer, obviously as a Titans fan, Lizard Williams. I want to see him in there. Simple as that. I mean, if you can get these seamers in there, give them an opportunity. And I know I keep on bringing that word up, but this is such a fantastic way to rotate the squad and see the depth, experiment a little bit. Because although, as I said, the series is on the line, of course, there's ODI Super League points on as well. You have to test out the depth sometimes. And I mentioned it in our kind of review of the England versus India series. It's something which we didn't do, and that could be to our detriment later down the line. So I would like to see South Africa experiment slightly. And as I said, if it's up to me, Magala would be in there, De Pavlon probably as well, and then of course Lizard Williams, because he was fantastic as well.
I think I would go with a similar type of lineup for me personally. At the Pavlon, I think Björn Hendricks maybe, Sisanda I would want to see Sisanda Magala, but Lizard Williams is someone that I really want to see. The three guys that I definitely want to see is Kyle Verreynne, Lizard Williams, and Janneman Malan. Those are the three guys that I want to obviously see play. The other guys, it doesn't matter if they do or if they don't. Maharaj would be interesting. I think that he does deserve an opportunity. I think that it would be really good for his sake because of his batting ability as well. I mean, some guys have put him even high up in the order when they select him in the lineup. Some people put him at 7 even. I do think personally, I wouldn't say mistake, but I was shocked when I didn't see George Linde in the squad, because I feel that George Linde is a guy that definitely is a better batsman than all the other spinners that we have currently. And then competing with John Smuts in that bracket, you would say, with regards to the batting or batting spinner type of role. Because John bats a lot higher for the Warriors than the middle order. He normally bats 1, 2, 3 can bat. He's open for the Proteas as well in T20 cricket. So he does have the ability to be able to do that too. So, but whereas George is more of a middle order guy, a guy that can come out and hit immediately, I feel, more than John. So if they're going to go for that number 6 type of spot for India, which I think they are looking for a spinner that can bat at number 6, I think that they'll probably go for someone like that. Then I would think that they'd go for someone like George, or at 7, and then moving Andile down. But I personally think that number 6 role is having a batsman that also bowl. I think George is probably the perfect person for us with regards to that. You know what I'm concerned about though? I looked at the weather report, and it looks like it's going to rain in Centurion tomorrow. So that's the only thing that we can't really control. It's one of those type of things that we can't really control. It's going to be a pity, because I mean, this is the one. I think this is the ODI that everybody was looking forward to, the third one, because everybody knew that they were going to experiment in this particular game over here. Aditya, let's just talk about the gaps in South Africa's squad, you would say. I mean, I can say 13 players, or probably 13, maybe 12 players are nailed on in South Africa's 2023 World Cup team, I could say. And then there's a couple of guys that are maybe you would say maybe no, we're not sure about. Those extra spots that you think, because when I say 12, I'm talking about subs as well. I'm not saying that the whole 11 is picked. I'm saying that there are at least 12 names that you could say are more or less going to go on the plane. Even subs are nailed on. You would say, like I would say, Yanaman Malan is a definite selection as a backup for Quinton, or a backup for one of the openers, or as the main opener for South Africa. So I think he's definitely a sub that's nailed on. I think that someone like Bjorn Hendricks is definitely on that level of bench player, because I feel that because I don't think he gets into the team if Lungi and KG, you could see him from the first two that he doesn't get into the side when Lungi, KG and Andrich are fit. So Aditya, from your point of view, what are the spots that are still vacant in your eyes that South Africa need to fill?
Look, I think South Africa has the players for those spots. Number 6, number 7 onwards. We know which players can play there. To me, the question is, what is the role that the management has sort of communicated to them? That to me is the question. I think we know that David Miller is going to bat at 6 and that Andile is going to bat at 7. But the question is, how do you see them batting? How do you see them batting together at 6 and 7? Because if you look 4, 5, 6, Klaasen can hit the ball a long way. Rassie is a versatile batsman, and Miller, we all know, he's Killer Miller. So the question is that finisher's role to me is where the question mark is, and there are options in South African cricket for who can perform that role, but the question is, can they perform it to the standard that has been set by certain teams, and certainly for the conditions, because on small grounds in India, you're going to need that 340, 350 sort of score pretty regularly. The other thing is that I wouldn't say it's a vacant spot, but I'd say it's a question that people can think about. Is Lungi and Ngidi in that team? I'm a fan of Lungi and Ngidi, don't get me wrong, but my question is there another X-factor bowler that we can have? Because if South Africa are going with a 5-bowler attack or a 6-bowler attack, they might, an opposition team might say that, look, I'm not going to attack KG. Let me just try to play him out. If he bowls the odd bad ball, I'll knock it. Who's the bowler that I'm going to target? The 2 bowlers would be Lungi Ngidi and Andile Petlukwayo. So the question in my mind is, can we find another bowler who can top 140, 145? Because Lungi is not bowling at that pace anymore.
So the Pavlon is that option, probably.
Yeah, you look at the first T20 between India and England. It was Jofra Archer and Mark Wood literally rattled India with pace. And it's not like they used variation. They were just for 4 overs, they were just trying to go 150 every single ball, and it rattled India. It worked. So, I don't think anyone likes to face 145, 150 consistently, and I think that's South Africa's strength. It's something that perhaps they can think about. And again, I'm reiterating, I really like Lungi Ngidi, and I love watching him bowl. But for the greater good, I think it's a question that we should all think about.
And you know what I think also, to both of you, and Aaron can maybe add to this, because I feel that most of our all-rounders in domestic cricket are like on the verge of being great, like on the verge of being good enough to play international cricket. Like the likes of Michael Pretorius, like yes, he should be in. People want him in squads, but he's like almost on that. He needs one more season to show that he can be that X-factor type of player. I think someone like Rwanda Swat is getting there. He's showing that he can bat and bowl. And for the Dolphins, he's getting a lot more opportunities. Tayan Khalim at the Titans, showing that he was Titans Player of the Year, last season. So, that's something that's massive. He's getting on the brink of becoming great. Now, Jason Smith most likely is going to go to another province next year. If you're listening to any of the rumors that are going around and flying around, potentially. he might get a better opportunity wherever he's going and get an opportunity to maybe show that he can be that all-rounder that South Africa's maybe been lacking. Maybe it's too premature because he hasn't had an opportunity even to look in for South Africa. Then you've got guys in the actual squad already, like Andile, then Vian Mulder. Dwayne Pretoria still. I mean, I think that Dwayne, from a batting perspective, is the best all-rounder from a batting perspective that we have currently in the setup. He's proven it on many occasions. Vian Mulder, internationally, has yet to show or stamp his authority with regards to the bat. He's found his rhythm with the ball. They've worked on his bowling. I think his bowling has improved tenfold. With regards to the bat, I just think he needs to get over that, get that opportunity to show that he can bat as well. And not in situations where we're in trouble. I'm talking about maybe push him up the order. In a situation like this would be perfect to push him up the order and give him an opportunity to bat so that he can show, look here, I can also bat. I'm not just here for my bowling, because I knew him first as a batting all-rounder. That's how I got to know him. I didn't get to know him as a bowling all-rounder when he was coming as a kid through the system at St. Scythians. So there's a lot of those guys that we can talk about that are like on the brink over there of becoming like world-class all-rounders or international standard all-rounders. From your perspective, is that also something that we lacking? Because this Chris Morris that's in the wind, we don't know what's happening with Chris Morris, if he's still available or not for the T20 World Cup. That's another talk about that we can talk about. And obviously we'll talk about the T20s a little bit more. But I'm talking about the 2023 World Cup right now. It's actually a pity that the ODIs is what we saw first, because I think it's the T20s that we need to focus on more actually at the moment, and finding the gaps in the T20 squad. So we're going to have a lot of newbies playing in the T20s against Pakistan, where it would have been ideal to have actually our more senior guys filling those spots for the World Cup. But alas, that's not what we got. Your thoughts on Peklequayo first, and our all-rounders in this country currently in the setup, the ones that you do know of.
Who's that aimed at, Khalid? Myself or Aditya?
At you, Aaron.
Well, first of all, before I answer that, I just wanted to touch upon the point originally, Khalid, which was about Mulder, because I found that quite interesting. If you were to bat him up the order, of course, which we've seen for the Lions, I've seen in rescue games for the Lions, and of course score some substantial runs, how would you actually set up the batting lineup heading into this final ODI? Would you put him at 5 or 6? How would you actually, manipulate the batting orders to fit him up higher?
Vian.
Yeah,
so currently, I would put him at 6, probably. Then what happens to Calvarena? Does he not get an opportunity to bat? So that's my problem over there. But it's one of those situations where you just don't have an answer for it, because I think that the guys, like, I'm all keen for guys that are informed, giving them a rest. Like, for example, Rassie. I mean, we know Rassie's top class, that he's a seat on the plane already. He's a definite. He's proven that every single time he walks to the middle. You can't average over 80 and not get picked for the World Cup. So he's definitely in the side. So I would give Rassie like a little bit of a rest for the T20s, because we're playing so many games after each other. I mean, in this particular game, but then on the flip side, because it's this new system that they have at the moment with this ODI league that they're having currently, you have to win it at the end of the day. So South Africa have to win it with this team. Ultimately, they want to win the series. So you have to play your big guns like Rassie. I will play the law of averages and say the chances are greater that Rassie doesn't score because he scored in the first 2, but you can't use averages like that because Rassie just smashes him out of the window anyway. Every single time we think, okay, he's going to go on a purple patch, then he just scores another half century. So we never know with Rassie, especially on these wickets in South Africa. He's brilliant. But yeah, I'd probably fit him in at 6 and give Rassie a little bit of a rest. That's what I would try to do. And then move everybody up 1 in the order.
Fair enough.
But
as I said, I just wanted to find out. I was intrigued by that. Go on, Aditya. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I continue, and I'll finish. I'll ask my question after you're done.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Well, in terms of Khalid's original point, apologies, I did stray away from the topic there. It is an interesting one with South Africa, isn't it? Because we mentioned about 4 or 5 names there, but again, it comes back to that age-old problem: how on earth do we fit them into the starting 11? That's the problem, because we've got all of these options, of course. Dian Halim, I mean, apologies if I've just butchered him. Obviously, I should know I'm a Titans fan, but he's a fantastic young all-rounder. Really is. But again, is he going to get a sniff in the Proteas lineup ahead of the 2023 World Cup? And that's my only problem, because it's all well and good having this domestic talent, but where do they fit in? We've just had that discussion about VR Mulder. How would you get Halim in there? How would you get Miguel Pretorius in there while still having the likes of Rabada, Nokir, potentially Ngidi, Ondile Pethalakwayo in there, of course, to Shamsi as well? That's the only question that I would have, Khalid. I'm going to be honest. But with that being said, at least you have options. That is a good thing with South Africa at the moment. The domestic pool, in terms of those all-rounders, is good enough to have, what to say, almost a reserve or backup for the likes of Mulder or Pethalakwayo. So, yeah, it's just a question of how on earth you fit them all in at the same time.
Yeah, that is the problem, and it's something that there's no correct answer for. But for me personally, what I would have done in this particular game is, if I'm going to be 100% honest in this, give my hand, I would open up with Janneman and Aiden, give Aiden another opportunity, see them fight it out with each other, because they're both fighting for the same position currently in the setup. Aiden, with his history of winning an under-19 World Cup, mentality-wise, I'm waiting for him to be able to convert his 30s, because it's those nervous 30s for him, not nervous 90s for him when it comes to ODI and ODI cricket, because it's 8 times now that he's gone up to in the 30s, looking amazing, doing so as well. I mean, playing amazing shots. So I'll go with Aiden and I'll go with Janneman. Temba, captain 3, yes. Rassie, I would have rested Rassie, given someone like Klaasen a little bit more responsibility, because he didn't get really a lot of opportunity to. He butchered the first opportunity that he had. Second opportunity also, he came in at a point in time where he just needed to hit the ball, so he didn't really get that much chance to really put on a show. So give him a little bit more senior responsibility. He is kind of a senior leader. If you see the behind the scenes on our website, you would see that on our website, sorry, on our YouTube channel, you would have seen him actually speak in a huddle while they were talking about the fielding, etc. So that was interesting to see that he's one of the guys that speaks up in those team meetings. So I'll move him to 4. I'll give Verreynne an opportunity at 5. And then I would have played all our all-rounders and given them opportunity. So I'll play Vian at 6, or even go John 6, Vian 7, 8, 8 Andile Pethalakwayo, give all those all-rounders an opportunity. And then I'll play our seamers like, okay, we know the Pavlin's there, and then I'll fit in Lazard Williams because I want to see what he's capable of. Especially going towards the 2023 World Cup, when are we going to get another proper opportunity to see him against a competitive team, show what he can do? So this is the perfect opportunity for him to do that. And then obviously you have your spinner in either Maharaj or Shamsi at the end over there. But yeah, that's just what I would do. Let's just have a final roundup from everybody. Let's start with Aaron and then we can end off with Aditya.
Apologies, Harlan. I just have one more question. Okay, because we mentioned there about potentially extending the batting. And of course, Keshav Maharaj, he's not a quote-unquote all-rounder, but he can offer you a bit with the bat. For this final ODI, would you potentially replace Tabraiz Shamsi with Keshav Maharaj?
Yes, I will.
No? You would?
I would. I want to see what it's unfair not to give Keshav an opportunity. The way he played he basically led that team to success in the T20 Cup. In the T20 Challenge, he left for the final, obviously for Proteas duty. But other than that, he basically led them to that final in the T20 cricket. So he's showing that he can play in all formats. I think from a leadership perspective as well, he's really good. Good for the dressing room, his attitude and his mentality. So I would give him a chance because we know what Shamsi is about. Shamsi also in the T20 arena. I mean, you see, Shamsi in ODI cricket needs to be a lot more consistent because what makes Shamsi good for me when I watch him play is the variations that he bowls, especially in T20 cricket. He can make that's why he's number 1 ranked bowler in the world when it comes to T20 cricket. It's because he bamboozles you with all these variations. He'll bowl it short, he'll bowl it straight, he'll bowl a little bit wide, he'll spin it into you, he'll spin it out away from you with his googlies and obviously his normal conventional spin. He does all of these things, and especially when if there's another spin on the end that's doing the opposite to him. That's why him and Imran will be a perfect combination in a team, in any team, because from a bowling perspective. But they don't offer something with the bat. Whereas on these wickets currently, the way Centurion played in the first, and we can see obviously the weather, moisture in the pitch, all of those type of things are causing problems for some of the batsmen in this game. You need to be a little bit more accurate and consistent because you're bowling more overs now. 10 overs you have to bowl in ODI cricket. It's not just 4. And then you're done. So a guy like Keshav, I think, will be more useful to South Africa with that consistency and just on a pitch like Centurion. And I want to see what he's capable of doing. So from this particular game, I would go with Keshav. But I don't know what Aditya thinks.
I would go with Keshav. And I think for quite a while now, I've been saying that for the T20 World Cup, he should be picked because, on wickets where there's going to be dew, towards the end of the game, I think his control would be useful, and he's also a pretty handy batsman. So Keshav is a fantastic addition. He's also a very good fielder too. So Keshav is an asset. The question for me is that if you talk about tomorrow's game, then there needs to be some sort of conversation about cleaning the tail out, assuming the bowlers are in a dominant position, and you don't want another situation where a team is 200 odd for 7 and then you let them add another 120 runs. So I think that's a conversation that the team needs to have. But what I would like to see is like a good solid burst from the middle order, where they take a potentially possible, let's say, 320 to a very difficult 360. I think it's that 40 runs that I'm really looking for, because that's like a formidable to a winning target. That's the difference between the two, and that's something I want to see from South Africa a lot more, because we all know South Africa has great batting talent. I think if 3 of the top 6 work, it's most of the time they're going to get to good total. But in this day and age now, it's about making sure that you not only have a formidable target, you have a winning target, almost an impossible one, because teams are really going all out. But a question that's in my mind, because I don't have too much clarity about it right now, is what is Faf du Plessis' ODI future? Because if he's playing...
I think he's done with ODIs. So I think he's only going to play T20s at the moment. Okay. The last time I checked, I think he actually... I know he dropped the captaincy with regards to obviously all formats immediately after the World Cup. He dropped his captaincy as ODI captain after the World Cup. But I thought that would go with ODIs as well, because I don't think he's going to play ODIs. It's only T20s from what I know and what I've heard. Yeah, so let's see. I don't know if he's going to play both T20s, the one in Australia and in India, but I know he's going to play the one in India. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see about that. The major thing for me is that what people don't realize is there's a lot more pressure on these players than we think. There's not only the pressure of having to win this game, there's also the pressure of knowing that you're fighting for a spot in that particular lineup. Basically, before we play a more competitive cricket after Ireland. I'm not saying Ireland's not a competitive team, but I'm saying that I'm talking about the other teams that we will be playing with. It's obviously a higher caliber than Ireland. I mean, if you play the West Indies and you play Sri Lanka and then you play India as well again before the World Cup, those are all things, those are obviously, that's what you want to be in. You want to be in those squads, particularly. I think maybe South Africa will test a little bit more in Ireland when it comes to Ireland. I think they will test a little bit more with the lineup and give these guys maybe another opportunity. But there's a lot of pressure on these guys, and I hope that Boucher and I hope that the selection panel looks at the way these players play under pressure and gives them the credit for that. Because I think that the hardest part for South Africa is the mental state in tournaments. That for so long, they've been mentally weak when it comes to the knockout stages. And it's only a mental blockage. It's nothing to do with ability. We went into World Cups where we were ranked number 1 in the world. People thought that we would cruise through it and win the World Cup. And we like that C word comes up every single time. And that's a mental block. And we need to look for those attributes and who steps up in this situation over here. Because this is a situation that will test Rassie as a senior player, because he'll now be the main senior player in the side. It will test him and how he will rally the troops with Pavuma. It will test Pavuma as a captain, because now he has to quickly identify what players are in his team and how he can exploit them, because he hasn't played with them long enough to know. Luckily, in the other games, when you have a whole lot of players from the line, in the T20 setup, it will be a lot easier for him, because a lot of the guys will be from the lines already. So it's a lot easier to do that, because he's played with him for so many years as well. He's played with him and he knows what their attributes are. But having to captain a whole new look team in a way is going to be a tricky thing, which I would like to see. So let's just round this up, guys. Let's go with Alan over there with the final say, and then I did check in Indendorf.
First of all, do not discount the Irish. Curtis Camphor is coming. Simple as that. He will be a man on a mission. I know, but yeah, honestly, that should be a good series. I'm very, very much looking forward to that in the summer. Should be an absolute belter of a series. But in terms of tomorrow, obviously, fingers crossed about the weather. I mean, I'm talking about weather. It's snowing right here in England as we speak. I mean, it's April. It's meant to be spring and there's a load of snow falling. But yeah, hopefully it stays dry in Centurion tomorrow. Hopefully we can have a good contest. And also, I know we haven't really mentioned about Pakistan. I would quite like to see a few changes in their middle order. And in particular, one person, Hyder Ali. I'd love to see him get an opportunity tomorrow. I don't think it's worked, to be honest, with Asif Ali and Danish Aziz. So personally, I'd go Hyder Ali, see what he can do. I think the top four is pretty stable. Bring him in at 5 or maybe 6. I think 6 is a bit too low for Hyder Ali. Personally, I'd put him at 5. So yeah, that should be an interesting change for Pakistan. And then in terms of South Africa, of course, we'll have to see the rotation. Fingers crossed we do get to see some changes. Milan, Verreynne, De Pavillon, for example, potentially Lazard Williams / Magala if Magala does get an opportunity. But yeah, looking forward to it. And of course, from my very, very neutral, non-biased perspective, even though I am here in a South Africa shirt, wishing both sides the very best of luck. Should be an absolutely brilliant end to a thrilling series.
Yeah. I think Pakistan will be very upset if they don't beat the South African team, though. I think so. But anyway, Aditya, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a fitting finale for what's been quite an exciting series. And I do hope South Africa makes some brave selection calls and try to give opportunities to youngsters to really showcase what they've got. Not only in terms of talent, we know that they're all talented youngsters. Otherwise, they wouldn't be making it to the national team of South Africa. But I think this is a test of temperament, because this is exactly the sort of situation that South Africa want to be in right now, where you've got an opportunity to really test yourself under pressure in a series deciding game. That to me is the most important part of this, and they're not playing the full strength squad, which means that there will be additional pressure on every member of that side to perform. So this is exactly the sort of opportunity that South Africa should be excited to have going in their preparation for the 2023 World Cup. And I do think that the young guns can pull off a surprise. So good luck to both teams. Pakistan have done a good job entertaining us all as well. And may the best team win.
And just to answer your question, Harshit, I asked Cricket South Africa who's their vice captain. They don't have a vice captain for white ball cricket, which is, I think they're probably going with the decision of having a leadership group. If I'm going to take a guess, it will be a leadership group and then Temba. So there's no vice captain currently for white ball cricket. It's only a captain with Temba and then probably a leadership group that will make decisions with Temba. So that's to answer your question over there. And to answer another question over here about Ruan de Swat. Ruan de Swat is a pace bowler. He's a medium to quick. I've seen him clock 140 before, so I don't know if he's consistently doing that currently. Because you can't really tell when he's playing at home in Durban. It's a lot slower the pitch over there than what you know in Centurion. So you need to go check again in Centurion. I have to see his pace again in the IFL to see how quick he is and how quick he can go. But he's medium to fast. I would say medium, more on the medium side. But guys, what if Temba is injured? Then they will select another captain, obviously, but there's no vice captain currently. So if you want to find out what their thoughts is, you can ask Mark Boucher and he will tell you. But if you can look at the last couple of games, it looked like Heinrich Klaasen would take the position from the other games that I've seen. Heinrich Klaasen took the captaincy when Temba wasn't available, for example, or whoever wasn't available. So like you saw in the last game against who was it now again? To play against
Pakistan.
Pakistan, yeah. Pakistan again. So many games happening so quickly. It confuses you when you play the same team twice in a row. But anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Thanks a lot, Aditya. Thanks a lot, Aaron, for coming on the show. I hope I'm going to see you guys again after the game tomorrow, if there is a game going to be happening tomorrow.
Yeah, fingers
If
crossed.
not, if not, we will just have a fun stream tomorrow evening. Let's talk to the fans, and you guys can all come on. You guys can bring your questions to the guys, and we can just have a fun chat. To all the guys out there, don't forget to obviously smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe, please. We want to get this video obviously in other people's recommended feeds. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers, guys. So get us closer. We only need just over 100 subscribers left to get to that 2,000 mark. So please help us by sharing this with everybody that you know that loves cricket in South Africa. Let's get going. Even if you know overseas guys like Aaron and Aditya who are from other countries but love the Proteas, get them also to sign up, because we'd like to also get them involved over here. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow with another show. Enjoy the game tomorrow and enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care, everyone.